to Navigation Trading Live. You are now part of a growing group of do-it-yourself traders who are trying to change the way investors think about building wealth. But because we don't believe in using financial advisors, stock tips, or traditional financial media, we have to do things different. We have to do things smarter. We do that through an art and a science we call trade hacking. At Navigation Trading, our methodology is based on statistics and probabilities, not hype or emotion. Our core strategies have been used by market makers, hedge funds, and floor traders for many years. Now, we share these secrets with you. Whether your goal is to make an extra $1,000 per month or replace your current income, with our guidance, you can achieve financial success beyond your wildest dreams. So, let's get started. What's up, Navigation Traders? Happy Monday. Today's Monday, April 16th. Welcome to Navigation Trading Live. If you haven't already, make sure you connect with us on social media. It's where we announce big upcoming events and new course releases and all that good stuff. So if you haven't already, make sure you connect with us. And don't forget, this session is all about you. So any questions or topics that you'd like us to dive deeper on and cover in our live broadcast, feel free to shoot us an email or just drop a comment here on Facebook or YouTube. We stream this broadcast live from our Facebook page and YouTube channel every Monday morning at 8:25 Central, just a few minutes before the market opens. We actually didn't do our broadcast last Monday because I was traveling, but we are back at it. So looking forward to a great week of trading. The topic that I want to cover this week is on earnings. It is the season. Earnings season is here. So all the big name stocks are going to start announcing their earnings. So if you are a pro member, make sure you go back and watch the earnings course. Just refresh yourself on the strategies. There's a ton of good information in there. 9 different strategies that we use all around earnings. Some are pre-earnings strategies leading up to the announcement. Some strategies we use during the announcement. And then there are certain strategies that we use after the stock announces their earnings. So we are getting right into the thick of it. And so that's where I want to go before the bell rings, before the market opens. And I want to go to a tool that we utilize that helps us a lot, not only in our core strategies, but also for earnings. And so what I'm looking at, this is the CML Options Strategy Backtester. And I'm gonna leave a link, so if you want information, you can get access to the software to do the back test and the studies yourself. But it's a very powerful tool, and I want to look at a specific strategy. So we've got in the next 9-10 days, we've got quite a few different earnings announcements coming up. The one I want to look at is Microsoft. So if we type in MSFT, and what I'm looking at here is what we call a pre-earnings momentum play, or a pre-earnings long call. And so if we go to the custom earnings, what we're looking at is Microsoft announces their earnings in 9 days. So it's 9 days before. So we're going to look at this study showing if we open this position 9 days before earnings and we're going to close it, I have 0 days before earnings because they announce after the market closes on that date. So we want to take the trade off before the announcement, and so we are not taking any earnings risk on this. This is just a pure pre-earnings momentum play leading up to the earnings announcement. Okay, so we're opening up 9 days. We're closing it the day of. We're going to use the options with 11 days to expire, and I'll go to the platform to kind of make this all make sense. But I'm showing you the setup of the study first. So days to expiration 11, and then what I did here in the settings is I just choose the different deltas that I wanted to see. So we're looking at the 50 delta, 40. There's the opening bell. We'll get to the platform in a minute. So the deltas, we're looking at 50, 40, 30, 20, and 10. And so then what we're looking at is we just want to trade a call, and we're doing a long call. We're trying to catch that momentum, that upside swing leading up to earnings. I already showed you the custom earnings that we're putting it on 9 days before, closing it the day of. And then you can look at the different time frames. So going back 6 months in the different trades. So obviously they announce once a quarter, so there's only been 2 trades over the last 6 months. You can see both have been winners across the board. If we look at the track record going back a year, so 4 different trades, you can see, again, 4 wins, 0 losses across the board. Going back 2 years, we've got 6 wins, 2 losses, still substantial returns. We really like to play kind of in that 30 to 50 delta range. So, kind of if we look at the 40 delta, 602% return, and just being in this trade for, a short period of time, 9 days leading up to earnings, 602% return. Go out even further, going 3 years back. So now we've got 12 different trades to look at. We've got 11 wins, only 1 loss, a return of over 1,800% over the last 3 years. Looking at 5 years, you can see we've got 16 wins, 4 losses, a return of over 1,600%. So just a solid strategy, a great win percentage of 80%, and just phenomenal returns from a P&L standpoint. So this is the trade that we're going to be looking at for our trade of the week. As you heard, the opening bell did ring. So let's go over to the platform and take a look at what's going on. Let's start with the futures. If we look at the S&Ps, they're up 16.5, Nasdaq's up 37, Dow's up 187, Russell's up 5. Oil's down about 1%, gold pretty flat, silver up a little bit, bonds and notes down slightly, nat gas up 1%. The grains are down a bit. Well, kind of a mixed bag. We've got soybeans up a little bit, wheat down, corn pretty flat. Some of the other ETFs that we trade, XLU utilities up a little bit, healthcare up a little bit, technology up a little bit, XOP and oil and energy related ETF, those are down slightly with oil being down. IYR real estate pretty flat, retail pretty flat, Mexico pretty flat, Brazilian ETF up about 0.5%. Some of the other emerging market ETFs pretty flat, no huge movers here. TLT, which is bonds and notes, down about 0.5%, and then the other indices as well. So then if we look down at some of the big stocks that we track, Apple's up a little bit, a lot of green on the board, a little over 1% on Adobe. You can see Delta Airlines up about 1.5%. No real major movers. I'm just trying to scan to see if there's any outliers, any big movers. Thor Industries down 2.5%, Ulta up almost 3%. But going back to Microsoft, which is the trade of the week stock that we're trading, if you click on the little blue question mark, the earnings bubble, you'll see, and actually it pops off the screen so you can't see it, but the earnings are on 4/26. So April 26th. And today is April 16th. So, we've got about, like I said, 10 days, so not a big difference there. But if you look at the chart, so basically what we're looking for is we're looking for a continuation higher in the stock to benefit this trade. The other thing that we like to look at as an entry point for buying a long call, a long momentum play, is maybe a little bit of contraction in implied volatility. So you can see the implied volatility has kind of stayed steady to grinding lower. So we look at this as a decent entry point from an implied volatility standpoint, because remember, we're expecting this implied volatility could expand or go a little bit higher leading up to that earnings announcement. So an expansion in implied volatility as well as a continuation in price to the upside is going to benefit this position. So if we go to the trade tab, we want the ones with 11 days to expiration, because remember, the announcement is 4/26, so we want that to be included in the expiration cycle. So these expire April 27th. So those are the options that we would choose. If we close this out and just compare the implied volatility on the different cycles, what you'll see is the implied volatility in that cycle with 11 days is higher than that of some of the others. So we've got 26 in the short term, then it jumps up to 36 because that's where they announce earnings. Then it starts to scale off 33, 31, 30, 27. So that's another way that you'll know that earnings are in that cycle, because the implied volatility almost always will be higher in anticipation of that earnings announcement. So like I said, we typically on these like to choose around the 40 delta. We've got the 38, we've got the 41. I like to, on these, I'm going to stay with a whole number as opposed to the half, just because you can see the difference. Liquidity is a little bit better in the whole numbers. So in this case, the 96. So we would simply just click on the ask, and that'll populate a buy call order. And then if we right click and analyze that, take it over to the Analyze tab, here's what that looks like from a graph standpoint. Now the one question I do get sometimes on these is, yeah, gosh, but look, you've got negative theta. You know, a lot of our core strategies are all about selling premium and getting that positive theta working in our favor. So as time passes, we simply collect that daily theta, that daily time decay. In this case, this is a negative theta play. So if price just stayed right here, you can see you'd actually be losing money. But here's why we do this leading up to earnings. I already mentioned the implied volatility. We expect that implied volatility is going to expand, which is going to help offset some of that theta decay, okay? And the fact is, we're only going to be in this trade for several days. I mean, if we get a quick pop higher, you know, we could be out of this trade tomorrow or the next day, or, you know, within a few days. Or obviously we may be in it all the way leading up to earnings for the next 9 days. So that's what we're looking at. I'm going to go ahead and get off the recording here, try to get this filled. If I do, I'll shoot it out to our pro members. And if you have any questions, let us know. Have a great week of trading. Talk to you next week.